Right, I think we are live. Indeed we are. I'm going to just tag some people in and then we are good to go, I believe. So if you're coming in, give me a hello. I'll leave it on for, if you're watching on replay, put replay in the comments, and you might want to fast forward it a few minutes or so. We are a bit early. So I'm going to just share the link with people and then we're good to go. So good evening. If you're coming in at the moment, give me a hello. Evening Claire, evening Catherine, evening Kathy, evening Diane, evening Tiffany, evening Claire, good evening Angela, Angel, Bonita, Nicola, evening Karen. I'm going to share the live and then we are good to go. So I'll leave it a minute or so. Give me a biggest take home from today. Evening Sue. Good evening everyone. How are we doing? Biggest take home from today. Where are we at? What is the day today? Evening Sue. Evening Tiffany. Evening Rachel. Evening Jackie. Evening Nikki. Good evening. Great questions, by the way. It's gonna be a good one tonight. I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it. Dun 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 dun. Steps or Michael Jackson? Hope you've got your sparkling water ready. Some great questions, which, you know, I do say to try and stay on track and stick to the task, but let's face it, some great questions that we're going to delve into, which some of my answers will be, you know, we'll explain more tomorrow, but etc. But at the same time, there's a lot I can kind of touch on today as well with that. So, so I'm just going to tag a few more people in. Good evening, Diane. Evening, Thelma. Evening, Julianne. Evening, Pamela. Laura. Diane, Joe, Tracy. Good evening. How are we all? Hope we're getting on all good with day one. Day one. The very first task in the bag. More about self-awareness. You might have found it quite weird. Maybe you've never done that before. Maybe you have. And I'm going to go over that in a bit more detail. What was your biggest take home from that? I'm always curious. Curious. Right. We are getting there. Okay, I am. Okay, so I'll give it 30 seconds. Oh, and then we are good to go. Okay. Okay. And let me get your questions up for today. And we're good to go, I believe. Good evening. Hey, Joe. Hey, Wendy. Evening. Good evening, Rosie. Right, let's get the questions up. So, I will... Yeah, biggest take home from today. Biggest take home from today. I am very unfit. Alison. Big hi, Teresa. But I wouldn't say that's necessarily a negative thing. That workout we did today was a tough one. 100%. Hey, Nikki. And you did it by the sounds of it, which is good. The glutes looked easy. It wasn't, but glad I persevered and finished. Yeah, perfect. Great stuff. Well done. So, and what I'll say is, from this, is when it comes to doing this, it is a bit subjective, and it half-ass is better than no-ass, definitely, Rachel. It is a bit subjective, and you might find that if you do it on a different day, you might rate yourself totally differently, and it definitely does remind us just how emotional our response can be sometimes, just how emotional we can be with regards to how we rate ourselves, how we value ourselves, and etc. And my hair's getting crazily long. And I would actually, research shows that people rate their lives as worse on a Monday than it is on a Friday, even though nothing's changed. Great stuff, Tiffany. Managed more than I expected. So far, so good. Great stuff. Caroline, when I rode today, I could feel it in my glutes. Yeah. Cool. Okay, so let me get going into these questions then. Otherwise, we will be here all night, won't we? It hurt, but glad I did it. Great stuff, Rosie. Evening, Eileen. Hope we're all good. Yes, this will be on catch up. Being accountable to ensuring to follow your requests. Great stuff, Angela. We are watching. Okay, so as I said, lots of good questions, and I will answer them all now as best as possible. So I'll go over the questions that was posted at 1 o'clock today. So every evening I'll be going over the questions that were posted at 1 p.m. in the Ask Me Anything post, okay? So in the Ask Me Anything post, the questions will be answered in there, and then what I'll do is then open it up on here. However, we do have 55 questions. No, they're not all questions. Okay, so Tiffany asked, help with exercise. I can't do the first lot very well as I have little movement in my hips. And I want to touch on that now. The workouts we do across the week will change slightly. So you won't just hit the jackpot on day one. You might do, you might not. You might find something that you didn't think you could do, but now you can do. Like, for example, we have no floor workouts coming this week as well, where there's no getting down from the floor. That was a floor workout today, so we have no floor workouts. We also have more of a muscle strengthening workout on Friday. So the muscle strengthening workout on Friday is with a towel. This is quite low impact on your joints, but great for like targeting the muscles, okay? Thelma, I didn't find it hard. Was I doing it wrong? Not necessarily. When you pull on a chain, it will break at the weakest link. So you may just have quite strong hips, quite strong glutes, which is all good. I will say maybe you could look at squeezing the muscle more. And the more you do it, the better you'll get at really engaging the muscle. Can you squeeze the glute as you're doing it? And try and be inefficient. Remember, what we're trying to do here when we exercise is be inefficient, aka we want to be the opposite to what our body wants us to do. So traditionally our body will want us to be efficient at everything we do. When we walk in a way that burns as least minimal calories as possible. That's how we've survived so long. When we do an exercise, whether it's an arm raise or if it's a leg raise, we want to do it fast. Hey Leslie, we want to do it really fast to get it over and done with. Hey Carolyn, because when we get it over and done with, we can move on. That's done. Good job done. However, the key thing with this is that you want to do the opposite to make you squeeze it, make it harder, so that your body has to really learn to adapt to it, okay? And that way you'll burn more calories, get stronger, change body shape. And it's not all about calorie burning then, it's also about changing body shape. Get more muscle, better bone density. Went off on a tangent, didn't stick to my plan of answering the questions earlier, and got distracted by the comments. Here I am. Anyway, let's go again. Leslie, really proud of how well I did today. Awesome work. Getting on the scales this morning has put my head exactly where it should be. Love it. And I want to touch on that because there was an article earlier that Louise shared, and she said, since when did weighing yourself daily become a habit of things that help you lose weight? And I'm not advocating weighing yourself daily. I'm not advocating weighing yourself daily necessarily, but if you're someone who weighs yourself weekly right now, and you literally put your self-worth on that number on the scales, I would probably say, one, your good intentions have probably been stolen by whatever you've done before or been told before about slimming, etc., what successful weight loss looks like, because there's so many other variables. Two, I would say weigh yourself daily in the morning before you've eaten anything, after you've gone to the loo, and then add them all up and divide that number by 7, okay? Divide that number by 7 at the end of the week, so you've got an average weigh-in for the week, okay? That will just give you a bit of an average. Didn't squeeze the glutes, but it was 6 a.m. We'll do better. Yeah. Try it again, Falma. I'd be interested to know if you squeeze the glutes, make every rep your best rep, and try and make the next one a little bit better. Christine, the exercise session's at 6 a.m., but you can do it when suits you. Okay, you'll get the notifications if you're in on the notifications for that, and they stay up all day. Ended up with a bit of cramp. Could this be lack of salt? It could be if your sodium's low, but was it cramp during the exercise or after? Because they are quite isolating moves, so if you haven't used them for quite a while, it can get cramp, especially in your hip area. It could cause cramp in there. Cool. So, Sue, need to discuss fat-free yogurts, plain and fruit, benefits of. So fat-free yogurts are fine. You might often hear they're full of sugar. Generally, if it's a natural yogurt, it's not necessarily full of sugar. Hey, Louise, what actually happens is, say you've got 100 grams of yogurt and you skim the fat away, you've now got, say, 80 grams of yogurt, then they pour in more yogurt to top it up to 100 grams, and they keep skimming away the fat. So you're having more milk, essentially, in your yogurt. So which means there'll be more protein, more calcium, and essentially more sugar, but that's just from having more milk. There's not actually added sugar. Now, change that to the more Muller Lights and the dessert-style yogurts, and yeah, now you're talking about added sugar in to make them taste better, and quite often they're higher in sugar and maybe even lower in protein than the full-fat Greek yogurt. So, I mean, a good rule of thumb for me of yogurts, if you can, is stick to like Greek yogurt, natural yogurt, or skyr yogurts are quite good as well. They tend to have no added sugar, or they have a little bit of flavouring in, or even whey protein added to them. So they're generally quite good. But, it depends what the alternative is. If like having one of those, those Muller like cheesecake dessert yogurts, they're delicious, but they're only like 150 odd calories. And if the alternative is like a piece of cake or something like that you've got into the habit of, or it stops you raiding the biscuit tin, you've got to always ask the question, okay, what's the alternative? It's not that something's good or bad, that you can or can't have that. What's the alternative? What am I doing now, and how can I improve that? That's a better question to ask. And don't beat yourself up for not being perfect right now. Okay? Just make a better one step forward. That's the key thing. So far so good. Sandra, great stuff. Worried what exercise I should avoid, as just found out I have hiatus hernia. Caroline says, I'm an expert in these. Caroline, you're on now, aren't you? I'm an expert in these, as have had one for years. Have you put on any tablets? Feel free to PM me. Cool. Caroline, I think you've sorted that. I mean, with the hernia, yeah, you've probably been, you would expect to be told what to avoid to an extent, but generally things on the floor are going to be an issue, like planks, sit-ups, anything where there's pressure really going. But you can do that all on the wall, as we'll show you over the next few days as well. What we did today really depends. I mean, technically when you're on your side, I mean, I wouldn't bring your leg out in the front, but yeah, hopefully Caroline's answered that question for you. But Caroline, feel free to comment below with what you said to Pamela. It'd be interesting to know what your thoughts are on that as well, if you have had it for years. Great, so let's have a look. Sue says, we'll do the workout shortly. Did Julie stretch this morning? What stretch? So Sue is actually in our Fit for Life Inner Circle program as well. So yeah, that's where she got the stretch session from. Yep, Caroline said floor exercise, some okay, but bending over is not. So, okay, yeah, cool. As I've got older, why does weight accumulate around the middle? This came up quite a few times, actually, Diane. So, it is true that as you age, your weight distribution changes, estrogen levels go down, and a woman will get more of a body shape closer to a male's body shape, aka less fat on the legs and the hips, more fat around the stomach, and it can appear that hey Michelle, hey Dora, it can appear that we're now carrying more body fat, maybe it doesn't feel comfortable, maybe our clothes don't fit as well. Often with that comes higher risk of cardiovascular disease as well, and that's where I'm not saying you should or shouldn't do this now, by the way, but that's where HRT comes in for some people when we go into like menopause discussion. You've got one half saying it lowers your risk of cardiovascular disease because of estrogen and the fat distribution around our stomach. On the other half, breast cancer risk, etc. I'm not here to debate that though, but there you've got an example of weight accumulating around the middle and the risk factors for it, cardiovascular disease, etc. Why does it do this? That's essentially due to estrogen. Now, what can you do to combat that would be your next question, I assume. And the same rules apply. So calorie deficit and creating more muscle, changing your body shape, eating more protein is going to help with this. Now, all these things come into it. Yes, it's going to be hard. It is hard. It can be hard to stick to. You may have some hormones fighting against you a bit more in terms of hunger, cravings, etc. What can help with that? Well, we know a high protein diet helps with that. We know that maybe your body doesn't listen so much to hormones in your body like insulin, maybe even leptin. What can help with this? Well, we know, again, resistance exercise, so muscle strengthening exercise, the type we introduced you to this week can help with that, potentially changing your body shape, which is really exciting what it does, draining your sugar from your muscle, making that muscle bigger. So if you imagine you've got a bath or a hot tub, I tried to rent a hot tub at the weekend, but they were sold out till May. I was like, wow. Someone popped up on my Facebook, they're in a hot tub, and they went, oh, thank you, so-and-so, for hot tub. And I was like, oh, I really want a hot tub now. And then when they said they're sold out, it made me want one even more. So anyway, imagine you got a hot tub and you have filled it up and it's about to overflow, but you drain it down. That's like exercise. You're draining the water down. Okay, now let's say you need to fit more water or more sugar in there. You make the hot tub bigger. You've now got a bigger hot tub. You've got more storage, and it's about thinking about muscle as a storage for sugar. That's why it's very good for blood sugar levels. It's more preventative against type 2 diabetes, helps with controlling blood sugar levels really well, independent of weight loss, that is, as well, which is really cool. Not to mention the other benefits of strength training. Anyway, going back to weight accumulating around the middle. If you look stereotypically, if you look at like women's magazines, it's eat as little as possible, run as much as you can. Very cardio driven, very deprivation rather than kind of strong. That's changing in recent years, which is good. There's definitely more of an emphasis on muscle, especially as we live longer, especially as we see that, if we have hip issues, knee replacements, the key thing really is prevention rather than cure. You want to go into an operation, whether it's a condition, disease, joint issue, whatever. If there's something needed where there's bed rest, hospital rest, you want to be going into that with muscle to lose rather than going, oh, what's my recovery going to be like that? Because often it's the recovery that really is the issue, not the thing itself, but actually the recovery from it. So the better position we're in, the stronger we are, the better our recovery is going to be. If we've got muscle to lose, we're going to be in a win-win position in that. Now, going back to here, so if we think about women traditionally fed that, lose as much weight as possible by starving, running as much as possible. We often do, every weight cycle we've been through, we might be losing muscle as we do that, so our body composition is changing. As we age, we don't utilize protein so much either, so we need more of it. Again, our signaling could be out of that. So my point is we're losing muscle, so our body shape could be changing. Now, if we can gain a little bit of muscle on our legs, on our arms, they can start to tone up, feel better. We can start to utilize it here. We may start to change how our body handles fat, handles sugar. We create a calorie deficit. The muscle makes it a bit easier to stick to it, as well as the muscle strengthening exercise that you're doing, again, makes it easier to stick to it, especially if you start, like a few of the ladies start to say, yeah, wow, I can start to feel my body shape change. I'm losing fat. Or one of the ladies calls them bra donuts. I don't really know what that means, kind of. But anyway, I haven't worn a bra, honest. I've worn many things, wigs, outfits, but bra not yet. Anyway, so they mentioned they started to lose it there, starting to tighten up around here, and it starts to feel better. We see those results rather than just on the scales that can help us stick to it. Now, again, like I said before, this is quite a complicated area, complicated question, but I'm going to go into it. Our signaling may be a bit off. So resistance exercise, higher protein diets can help with that signaling. Insulin resistance, which is a precursor to type 2 diabetes and associated with menopause as well. Potentially lower carb diets help with that. What I would also say on here is when you look at the research in terms of signaling, what the research actually shows that potentially you see things like probiotics actually help with that as well. Potentially people's gut bacteria, if people's gut bacteria is better, they can then start helping us subconsciously eat less. If we subconsciously eat less, we find it easier to stick to a calorie deficit. And one of the reasons why perhaps when we get older we find it harder is actually because we're more stressed than we were before, which makes us lead to comfort eating a bit more. We're tired, we have more responsibility as we age generally, whether that's kids, whether that's parents we look after, whatever it is, we tend to have more responsibility, which makes things harder to stick to. We can turn to food, maybe we eat more highly palatable food, it's moreish. Now potentially probiotics could help with that. But another way to look at this could also be protecting our gut health from the diet. We have plenty of fruit, plenty of vegetables, which again leads to that nourishing our body and treating ourselves well. That's a long answer, but you asked why, and I hope I've covered that with a touch of some strategies to help overcome that and things that we're going to go over this week and actually do, most importantly. Do rather than just say. So, Helen, I wondered if you'd touch on eating disorders, as I was also suffering with anorexia in my teens, and although my attitude to food is far healthier now, I don't think I've ever really had a healthy, comfortable relationship with food. I also feel guilty no matter what I do. Currently, I want to get back to a healthy weight. So, touch on eating disorders. What do you mean by that? I mean, the research is interesting in that area. So, generally, if you look at the way the world is right now, and it is quite worrying actually, a little bit. You know, I've got 2 daughters, and if you look at the amount of diets out there, whether it's gluten-free, dairy-free, vegan, carnivore, whatever, even if it's for a good reason. So the research is really interesting. So even if someone's got celiac disease and for a good reason they cut out gluten, they're more likely to develop an eating disorder. And it's all down to perception of restriction. So our perception of restriction, of whether we feel foods are bad because of this or that, the more we restrict, the more likely we are to lead to some form of eating disorder. And I know there was another question, I think it was from Joe, about eating disorders and never seeing binge eating grouped in with anorexia and bulimia, which is interesting because the reason why they're starting to think about grouping them together more is because they're like traditionally listed as separate, yet the causes and the symptoms are often just repeated. And then you've got to think out, okay, can we understand this better by grouping them together? Do we need to separate them? And then it comes down to, okay, when it comes down to binge eating, when we're doing it, and I know people say, you know, sometimes when I'm doing it, I don't know I'm doing it. So that's where we need something that is a pattern interrupt for when we're in that space. We need a distraction, or we need something. For example, I'll give you an example. Over the weekend, I try not to take my phone, because even if I've got my phone in my pocket and I use it for camera or it's on aeroplane mode, it's too tempting just to go, just check what's going on. Then I get a message and all of a sudden I'm not. So we went on a walk and now I don't even take my phone, and it's just like, I don't even have to use any willpower. And again, it's looking at our environment. So are we do we know there's food in there that we want? And of course, you can't always control that, other people in the household, etc. 2, have you restricted it to the extent where now you want it more? Pink elephant, pink elephant syndrome. So now you're thinking of pink elephants. Don't think of a pink elephant. Now you're thinking about them and we want them. The research shows that sometimes we have to actually give ourselves permission. And that's where potentially actually going to the one rule method can help. And I'm going to touch on this on Wednesday in a bit more detail. But creating one simple rule that you feel confident doing around that food. So it's freedom, but structure. Giving yourself permission to eat whatever you like, not because you can't normally, okay? And there's a difference between being full and full up. Giving yourself permission doesn't mean eating everything. You're just giving yourself permission to do it. And we're starting to play with this relationship with food. And the thing is sometimes this actually contradicts, going through this process actually contradicts with a weight loss goal. And sometimes I actually recommend us stepping back from the weight loss goal and actually working on our relationship with food at this time. Whether that means, in some studies they've looked at what happens if you give someone who's restricting a food really badly that food at 10 a.m. because no one really messes their diet up at breakfast or 8 a.m. So say that you can have your Snickers bar at 8 a.m. It's like, oh, okay. Because let's face it, we binge eat. When do we normally binge eat? What time is it normally? What time is it normally? It's normally in the evening. And similar with wine, etc., which I'll go into. I know there's been a question. In the evening, or in the afternoon, something's generally happened through the day. Either we're more tired, something stressful has happened. Maybe we've got through 3/4 of the day of work. So you've got to remember that we're feeling quite low at this time. Would you agree with that? Now, the problem with this is anything you do now that makes you feel a little bit better, your brain will remember that. So your brain will start to create a new little link. I describe it like Wiltshire Council and the roads around. So if you go on like a country road, and there's potholes everywhere, you kind of want to avoid them roads as much as you can. Whereas you can go on the motorway to where you want to go. You're like, you know what, free motorway, I'll just go that way. And the more you do something, the more your brain is taking that motorway and the roads are nice and clear. There's no roadworks, there's no traffic. Then you try and do the opposite thing and you're on a bumpy road and those potholes are getting deeper and deeper and deeper. You're bumping all over the place, the traffic, there's roadworks. Now, Maggie, used to be evening for me. Pleased to say I don't anymore. Maggie, would you mind sharing what you did and how you've got control of that binge eating in the evening? I think it'd be good for everyone to understand that. So Maggie's on our Fit for Life program. It'd be interesting if you just write down in the comments for a few of the ladies above who have posted, and I can read out if you want to share that is. So with that, the more we do it. So if you think about it at that time, we've got a great opportunity to create a new habit, because if we're feeling quite low, anything we do will change our state. And the fastest way to do that is to change our state. Now, I'm going to be going over a few more strategies to help with that, but whether that's dinner and done, whether that's every time you get an urge, there's something called urge surfing. And even if you take one thing away, it's just don't fight that feeling, just be aware of it. Okay, now urge surfing is where if you get an urge to do something, like an urge to go and grab the biscuits, an urge to open the biscuit tin, just acknowledge the urge, like listen to it. You don't have to act. Just listen to it. What's it saying? What does it feel like? What does it feel like? What are you doing? What's your heart rate doing? What's your brain saying? What thoughts are going through your head? Are you cold? Are you hot? How do you feel? Then, write that down. then just ask the question, how long does this urge last for? How long does this urge last for? And I'd actually challenge you now, how long, when you get an urge to binge eat, how long does the urge last for? A lot of people won't know. And then I would say, wouldn't it be fun to actually find out? Put a timer on. See if it does go away. It'd be interesting to see. So Maggie, I control my food portions and make sure I have enough protein in my day. So it's dinner and done. So yeah, great. That's awesome. Used to be evening for me. Yeah. So what Maggie's done, and this kind of comes back to binge eating a little bit more, is making sure she's getting protein portions at those meal times in the day, because quite often binge eating is associated with not eating enough in the day. And the problem is that exaggerates the spiral. That exaggerates the spiral of go to bed, guilty, stuffed, not happy, get up, I'm going to make up for it today by starving myself for as long as I can, by being good, eating as little as I can, maybe lettuce at lunchtime. Maybe not that bad. But then we're hungry. Then we overcompensate in the evening. So some really cool comments in there coming in. So I eat 1 square dark chocolate or a mug of hot chocolate, maybe with water. Great. My downfall is a couple of glasses of wine. I'll go into that, as Dora asked that as well. Half a cup of milky coffee. Not sure if that's okay, but it takes away urge to eat. That does actually do it for me as well. I have to make a hot chocolate. So I get cocoa powder, cinnamon, and then I mix some with like milk, hot water, then I put it in the microwave just so it's warm, and it takes me a while to eat, and I love cocoa anyway. Magnesium, all good. Haven't had biscuits since starting Fruity Fit. Wow, amazing. I'll try that tomorrow when the work biscuit tin beckons. Yeah, Annie, let me know how you get on with that. Sally, as a vegetarian, I don't think I have enough protein. So that is something to be wary of. Meat alternatives, beans, legumes, and just getting that fibre in is going to help with that as well. Yeah, it is more difficult when you are veggie, for sure. And then but you've got dairy as well. That if you do eat dairy as well, that is very filling, very satisfying. Whether that's yogurt or you can go down soy point of view. But we're going to go into that in a bit more on the one rule day as well. I got rid of the biscuit tin and any things I shouldn't eat. Yeah. I mean, your environment does play a big role. Tiffany, mine's not always the calorie intake, but the lack of exercise. Sometimes I may only have 300 or 400 calories a day. Yeah. So, I'm veggie too, can't eat eggs either. Yeah. Cool. But there are plenty of options being veggie now anyway, like meat alternatives. So anything that you know, have it at a meal, just replace it with the alternative if you eat that, or beans, legumes. Yeah, Maggie's actually vegan, I forgot to say that. So she gets her protein intake off in different ways as well, which tomorrow in the nutrition, I'll give you a vegan meal maker and am I allowed to say normal? I guess I'm not. I don't know. Well, how would you say it? Vegan one and a omnivore one. Let's say that. Let's go with that. Yeah, Tiffany, been a veggie for 50 years, share lots of recipes. Yeah, we also have a vegan book as well, of lots of recipes if you do want some more inspiration. Anyway, cool. Tangents for me. I hope that helps, Helen. I can't even remember what the question was. I can really. Sue, feel good about the exercise, but sticking to more 15 minutes as recovering from COVID. Overdid it 1 week, but feeling better now. Perfect. Cool. So far, so good. Homemade carrot soup for lunch. Nice choice. Sarah, so today's a good day. About to go for a long walk. Any tips for surviving a not so great day when you want to take it out on food? That's a really interesting one. It kind of ties in with what we've just been through, but I would definitely have a happy list. I feel happy when. Because let's face it, what you're looking to do there, Sarah, is change your state, right? You're looking to change your state by turning to food to make you feel a certain way. So what I'd say, Sarah, Number one, what feeling are you trying to create? What feeling are you trying to create from eating that food? What else could you do to create that feeling? And also, when you turn to food, does it actually satisfy you? Because you want to feel a certain way. I want to feel good, I want to feel happier. You eat it, and half the time, how do you actually feel? And if you do feel good, enjoy it. At least bloom and enjoy it. If you feel good, at least enjoy it, because it's okay to eat to feel better. If it makes you feel better. If it doesn't make you feel better, and it makes you feel rubbish, then we've got an issue. Can you see the difference there? Like, I don't drink that much, but when I do, I enjoy it, and it does make me feel better. And I enjoy it. It's never a thing which is the same with food as well. And if it does become something, like, so kids' leftovers are the worst for me. There might be occasions where I eat some of the kids' leftovers and I'm just like, why the hell did I just do that? Because it was there. And it catches me. Normally when I'm tired, which comes back to energy. What are you doing to protect your energy? What are you doing to create your energy? I need to lose fat around my middle. What foods to avoid to reduce it? Yeah, so we touched on that one already, which is definitely a one. I won't go into more on that, as I think I spent half the night doing that. Sally, a hot cup of tea or hot cinnamon tea is satisfying. Yeah. The hot chocolate does it for me. Every time, it's rarely a night goes past where I haven't had a hot chocolate. After my sparkling water. What homemade soups are good, healthy, and low in calories? What I would say with soups is, again, you've got that protein aspect in, but generally their soups are filling. There's lots of liquid, so you're actually having a lot of water. So if you don't drink that much water or you struggle with water, soups are great because the liquid in the meal is so big, so you're going to get a more filling effect from that. You also get tons of veggies, fibre in there, which is good for your gut, might help with that signalling, like I said, in terms of hunger. The only thing I'd say with that is some people can often say, I don't feel that satisfied 1 to 2 hours or 3 hours later. And as a result of that, I would say you've got to look at protein. So getting lentils in, like there's a sweet potato and cannellini bean soup that I used to love and have quite a lot. I'm not great to be around after having that, if I'm perfectly honest, for certain reasons. But it's great and filling and has quite a lot of protein if you're vegan as well, in terms of from the beans as well and the lentils. But if you're not vegan, I'd definitely sprinkle like bits of chicken in there. You can even actually buy some from the shop that are like and mirror them, or look at the ones in the shops that some chicken ones and stuff like that with like chunky chicken in and stuff. The fresh ones, they're generally quite good now as well, and just kind of mirror them. But there is a bit of research to say that having something crunchy at lunchtime is quite satisfying. A crunch at lunch, there you go, it's a t-shirt. Have a crunch at lunch. There definitely is something satisfying about crunching. 100%. That's why, some people go, I like carrots. Quite satisfying. An apple, quite satisfying to just put your teeth into. So I'd definitely look at adding protein, adding something kind of crunchy in there as well. But are liquidized vegetables more calorific, like with smoothies? It doesn't make them more calorific, it just potentially makes them easier to consume, right? So if you had like 4 carrots out in front of you, half a broccoli and half a cauliflower, and you try to eat your way through that, it would take you longer and be more filling than if you blended it all up. Now, when it comes to vegetables, it's generally okay because they're so low calorie anyway. When it comes to smoothies and fruit, I would say you do have to be a little bit careful calorie-wise, because I could pretty much chuck like a bag of frozen berries, a banana, an apple, a pear, and just blend it and drink it, and I'd be no more satisfied than if I just had a banana in it and my usual stuff. So, banana, whey protein, some milk, cinnamon, cocoa powder for argument's sake. But if I then also added in berries and all sorts, I'd probably be no more satisfied. I've just eaten that many more calories. if I'd have spreaded that all out as whole foods, it'd have taken me longer to eat. We know that crunching, digesting the food with our mouth may help with hunger and helping with hunger. We also know that the time it takes. So with a smoothie, if it's straight down, you might feel like you're still hungry, but actually you need to wait 20 minutes or so. No worries, Nikki. Hope that helps. So, Sabrina, limited with exercise, have knee replacements and now degenerative this problem. It's good to be involved with others. Great stuff, Sabrina. How did you get on today? If you are there. Okay. Did the exercise this morning but ended up with bad cramp in left leg. Does this happen? Could it be a lack of nutrition intake? Sol. Did I? I answered that, didn't I? I'm not going crazy. Yeah. So it could be potentially, but what I would say if it was at the time, then yeah. All good, Eileen. Awesome work, Christine. Outside, so can't hear you, but what is protein other than meat and eggs? You talk about shakes. What and where from? Claire, yeah, so that would be like whey protein shake, or you could use soy protein. Yogurts are great. Beans are great. Tomorrow we'll go into a bit more detail from that as well. Cool, perfect. Yeah, tomorrow will be a lot more clearer for you. Okay. All good, Claire. Alison, not sure if I got the exercise right, as it seemed to pull in the back of my knee. Get my mojo back, especially in the evening. I'm not hungry, but I snack. Okay, yeah, so we touched on that already. Hopefully that's helped, Alison. With your back of your knee, it could be that you are tensing your calf quite a lot when you're doing it. So I'd just be wary where your foot is. If your toes are pointing down, that might hit your back of your knee. If you bring them up, so your toes are like naughty toes, so ballet, so good toes, naughty toes. You want your toes as naughty toes. That can help sometimes take a bit of pressure off your back of your knee and a bit more onto the thigh and the glutes. Rosie, my friends are on a keto diet and doing really well. I have done this a week and have good results. But is this something you recommend? So what I would say is it depends on the keto diet. If you're doing well and you're sticking to it, keep doing it. Take the positives from it, what you liked about it, what you enjoyed about it, and you can go on and off that as you wish. But know that if you're off it, this is the key thing. If you're off it, it doesn't mean you failed. If you're off it, it doesn't mean you failed. It's just you're trying to find the Rosie diet, okay? So the Rosie diet is your diet, the Matt diet, the Nikki diet, the Eileen diet, the Alison diet. This is about personalise it for you. Benefits of keto might be that you eat more protein, you eat more vegetables, you cut carbs a little bit without feeling hungry because your protein intake's higher. It depends how keto you go as well. I mean, there could be some health concerns if you go super keto, but most people wouldn't be going super keto. And a keto diet is generally 75% fat, which is actually really hard to do. It comes from the benefits with maybe certain cancers and also epilepsy, but it became quite prominent because it's a great way to stick to, aka it definitely helps the signaling in terms of hunger. So people generally experience lower hunger. It's just when cravings come in and people can actually, whether they can stick to it. But if you can, yeah, go for it. Take what you can from it. I sat to plan good snacks. I tried to find things to do and plan good snacks. Cool, Bonita. So yeah, definitely try the urge surfing and everything we've gone through today. Is walking twice a day for an hour and a half in total enough exercise? So it depends on your results. If you're not seeing the results you want, walking is great, but I definitely think people leave results on the table by not doing muscle strengthening exercise, which is going to change your body shape. Most people I speak to want to get stronger, get fitter, more toned. I've talked loads today, by the way. I did a 2-hour lecture. My voice is definitely going. Met Officer Brooks today. Anyway, so I definitely say to add in resistance exercise. Maybe even like keep your walk, but even if it's like before or after it, so it doesn't become some huge task you have to do. Because what does enough actually mean? You know, what does enough actually mean? Enough to do what? Is it to get fitter, to stronger? Are you pushing yourself on the walks a little bit more? Really depends on your goal. Rosie, I'd increased my protein. I'm not going mad with it. I've even felt that my pain has been better this week, but not sure. That is in my head. What pain, Rosie? I would ask, yeah. What pain? Because keto does make you cut out certain potential trigger foods for arthritis. Trigger foods that are traditionally recommended as well, like things like tomatoes, peppers, certain carbs, grains, legumes. I don't want to confuse you here and say to give them up, because it's not that black and white, but some people do see a benefit. Camilla, intermittent fasting and low carb curbs my hunger and stops craving. Yeah, weirdly, fasting can in some people. However, I do want to say that if you've got a history of binge eating, fasting is probably the worst thing you can do, because it almost exaggerates it. I've never known someone get better at binge eating from skipping meals. Great stuff, Sue. All good. Evening, Nicola. Right, I need to lose weight, mostly around my tummy, so what food should I avoid? I'm not a big eater. Eileen, tomorrow is for you. Tomorrow's task, 6 a.m. Get on there. Oh gosh, I can never give up. Yeah, I wouldn't give up tomatoes. I'm not saying, it's interesting that she said that. Belly fat is my biggest issue. We've answered that one. Is there anything else I should avoid? It does come down to calories, but hopefully I covered that in the talk before. Pauline, again, 10 to 12 years later from having babies, exercise, food, ways to reduce waistline. So, again, like I said about resistance exercise, more protein in the diet, and consistency and time is such a key thing. So just giving it time and not giving up too fast with it. Paula, one of the ladies on our Fit for Life program, she said something the other day to me, and it's great when I get feedback like this, because it makes me realise what I said, which made her something tick. And she said, you said something to me at the start you said you've tried everything before, but how long have you tried it for, and have you ever just kept going? And she was like, yeah, I always stop. And I don't even stop because it's that hard. I stop because I'm not seeing results, but maybe I've just stopped too early. Great stuff, Joe. Yeah, my question is the same already, but what is the best food to realize tummy? Yeah. So we've gone over that. Great stuff. Okay. How do I know what's the right number of calories? Who's currently 62 kilos. I need to lose about 6 to 7 kilos. So we're going to go over the calories tomorrow. And I'll... Now, not that you have to count calories. See you tomorrow, Karen. Not that you have to count calories, but if you want to, you can go over that in a bit more detail as well. Yeah. What's classed as healthy snacks? We'll go over that in a bit more detail tomorrow, Karen. Not been able to look at this morning yet. Plan on doing this when I get home. All good, Portia? Have you done that yet? Yeah. What's classified as? Done that. How to come to terms with the fact that you may never be as slim as you were even 5 years ago. What does it mean to be as slim as you were 5 years ago? Is that something you really want? Would you be happy if you got there? Would you be as strong as you are now? Are you stronger than you were 5 years ago? What if you could be stronger? And I know you are, Karen. How can we calculate our correct calories? Yeah, we'll go over this tomorrow. Cool. What's your view on alcohol in the evening? How much is too much, or should I just quit? Now, it depends on what reason. If it's a calorie reason, yeah, it is liquid calories. It can make us sleep worse. It can also make us, over time, actually potentially need it to get to sleep, which creates its own problems because we need to get to sleep, but then we don't sleep so well and we actually wake up more tired and we're dependent on it. That can also impact our hunger hormones. I talked about signaling earlier. Some of the things that I would say are helpful, and we'll touch on this a bit more tomorrow, is almost having a bit of a one rule with it. Like one of the ladies I was speaking to earlier, who is on our Fit for Life program in the Inner Circle, and she said that what she finds best is just, I drink Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and it's been hard because our other half, it's been quite difficult because he'll come in and just start tipping the drinking, or already poured and given. And she said, I don't know what to do because he's not getting it. And I said, have you actually spoken to him? And she's like, well, I have kind of. And I was like, yeah, just speak to him. Because sometimes we just don't want to, we just assume that they won't be on it. But actually, they might actually, and this was actually the case, initially they were a bit like, oh, okay, you know. But then after a while, they were like, actually, yeah, it's all right. Have something ready instead. This is what she did. She got a drink instead that she said, can you pour me one of them? So she had a few. She had lime soda, tonic, lemon, and it's gone out of my head now. The non-alcoholic drink that's a bit like gin. It'll come to me. So yeah, we'll touch on that a bit more tomorrow. But yeah. Great stuff, Maggie. Claire, tips on stop eating. I'm full, but then want more and more. What do you want more of, and what do you get from it? Seedlip, that's it, Camilla. Thank you. Everyone knows it. Look at that. Seedlip, Jim, Rachel. Cool, awesome. Yeah, so I would say, what do you want more of? Is it specific types of food? Because then we're maybe trying to change the way we feel. Could we get that food out of our house or where we are? Change our environment. What are we looking to get from this food? So that is all the questions for tonight. I think we've covered a lot there. So thank you for joining me tonight. Tomorrow we go into that nutrition in a bit more detail, and hopefully it will cover these questions. And it's great, actually. The questions I've had so far are actually, it's actually made me really happy because this is what this week's all about. So I'm really excited about releasing tomorrow's task, the next task, because tomorrow we go over the more basics of nutrition. And for those of you you've asked about calories, I'll also give you a calorie calculator. We're going to be going over vegan, omnivore as well. Carnivore's easy, just meat. Yeah. Omnivore, so that's meat and veg. And then vegan, we'll be going over simplifying that. Wednesday, one rule method, super simplify it down, getting a bit more specific rather than guidelines. Thursday is more looking at the psychological and physiological hunger. And Friday is bringing it all together so you have a plan. Yolande, what time tomorrow? So 6 a.m. for the task and the workout. 1 p.m. Ask Me Anything post. 8:30 p.m. live as we did today. So just like we've done today. So I hope you found that helpful. Any questions, as always, let me know in the Ask Me Anything post tomorrow. 1 p.m. 6 a.m. tomorrow. Be there and have a lovely evening. Thanks, Venetia. Thanks, Bonita. And I will see you tomorrow. Never spoken so much in my life, believe it or not. My wife will be happy if I don't talk too much tonight. Very useful tips. Excited to use them in my daily routine to help curb cravings. Great. And on Thursday, I've also got a little guide to give you as well, Claire, which should help with that in terms of psychological hunger, physiological hunger, how to spot the signs. It's a great thing to do to actually put somewhere that you see daily, because what you see daily really does impact what you do, your mood. That's why we listen to music and what we watch, what we consume, everything. Thank you very useful, a lot to think about. Yeah, great stuff, Rachel. Julie, I wonder what you're laughing at then, because I'll be quiet. Yeah, great stuff, Laura. Very useful, a lot to think about. Good, perfect. Have a lovely evening, and any questions, as always, reach out tomorrow. Speak soon. If you're watching on replay, by the way, do let me know you're on replay. See you tomorrow. Watch the 6 a.m. later. Yeah. All good, Joss. See you later.